greetings. And I should say to everybody who's going to be joining me tonight and to those of you that are the rewatchers. So, we have so many things. Tonight I'm going to talk to you also about the attraction, the secret attraction, or the attraction of money. And it's not just money, it's some things that you would find good, whatever. But hello, Miss Renee. So look, tonight we are going to talk about something also I'm going to be getting together this year, but not starting until next year. And I want to talk to you guys like this is for real stuff because I can say that, okay, I'm a nurse, but I do intuitive work. It's so funny. When I started, I was like, yes, I'm an intuitive counselor. And people are like, what's that mean? So it's like, not that. But if you go, yeah, I'm a psychic, they're like, oh, wow. Oh, okay, sign me up. But I got to tell you, my ability is not for entertainment purposes. Hello, Miss Jerry and Dawn. Yay. Hello. Yes, I'm going to get into why I wasn't here. It's just kind of getting started. But so I want to say good evening, my light working friends. You guys doing okay? Everybody good? I do want to talk to you about a couple things. So for the past, I started a new healing journey, a new healing, I should say. That's not even saying it right. Let me start off the right way. First, I said, good evening, all light workers. It's funny when I identify myself. I mean, I want to say like I'm like a Christian, but I don't want to be like, because I've never had good experiences ever with that. So I'm going to say, light workers. We are light workers that we do good things for other people, right? And hello, I can't read the name. Mary. Anyway, okay, you guys. So I have, as you guys know, I do healing. I'm a nurse. I was just saying, I went to nursing school in my 50s. So don't going to school in your 20s. I don't like, for instance, people who spend so much money sending their children to college to make a lifetime decision. To me, it's comparable to, okay, your kid comes home and says, oh, I want to go to college, or I don't want to go to college. And you're like, that's horrible. What are you going to do with your life? Blah, 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 blah. But if your kid came home and said, okay, I'm going to go to college. What do you want to do? I don't know. Why would they know what to do? They're like 17, 18. Some kids even finish in 16 years old. Wow, they just made it old enough to like drive a car. And now you're going to ask them to see what they want to do with the rest of their lives. So I always say to people, but what if your kid comes home then and says, I want to get married after high school? You're going to be like, oh my gosh, you're going to ruin your life. That's a lifetime decision. Well, and they're both expensive, college, marriages. But anyway, you know yourself as you grow because we are in school. As everybody knows, we are in school. School is life. And we're here every time we come into a lifetime. We're trying to gain soul perfection. And soul perfection, we could gain soul perfection and get to the point where we don't want to come back anymore. We might not want to come back and live on earth any longer. We may have choices to do other things. But I do believe that is going to be according to your soul advancement. Like I said, perfection does never exist here. It exists only on the other side where all is perfect, including us, you guys. But remember, God gave us free will because we're going to make mistakes. And this is what I want to talk about too. So, so I started doing like healing. I can't speak on it now. It's going to be a little bit, but in the beginning it was very hard. So for those of you, and we will talk about healing, for those of you who do healing work, You've got to rest because you can't help anyone. And this is in common life. You can't help anybody if you can't take care of yourself first. So that is so important. Um, I try to teach to, like, for you guys are gifted. You're light workers, you're gifted. One of the things I'll ask is to look on your left hand and look and see if you have an X. It's a big X, and like mine is right here. Okay. And this is my left hand. I have one on my right hand, but it's not finished. But it's not finished because I'm right handed. Well, kind of, I can use both hands, but I'm more right handed. And my right handed X is not complete because obviously I'm still alive. But I'm also not finished using my healing in this life. This X is complete because this is past life. And it's so not everybody's going to have a healing X. Not everybody's going to have it. But that doesn't mean that you're not a healer, and it doesn't mean that you're any less. It's kind of like I was saying to somebody the other day, some people cannot be like healers, hand-on healers. Some people can't, and they can't because um, they're extremely connected to everything. I don't know if I can remember, like, when I was younger, and even not so much when I was older, but when I was younger, people would be like, "Oh, you can be so, like, distant, so cold." And it's not that, but you can't get absorbed in other people's energy and stuff. You know what I mean? You just can't. That's why it's so important every day to, like, surround yourself with the white light of the Holy Spirit, the white light, right? And then you can surround yourself with blue for your inner voice, and then green for healing. Then I do purple for spirituality, and then I do my connection to God, and that's white with sparkles. I'm like all about sparkles. Like I'm 5, right? But I love sparkles. But anyway, and so that's how, and I always envision the connection coming from the top of your head to the divine. Okay. I am going to say this has been my biggest thing. I have been told to say this is not for entertainment purposes. I have seen something on YouTube, and this person was going over a case that was pretty bad. And this person was like saying, pulling her tarot cards and saying that this person had done something horrific to, his family members. I'm not going to, again, I don't want to go into detail, but the things, and she's basing off of, well, this card means that there's a lady. Well, in the situation, in the case, there's like 5 ladies. So which lady is it? And she's just saying something that actually can get one person killed. Yeah. And other people, so no. And when I say that, and I'm not putting that down, that's fine if that's what you want to do, this and that. But I can say, and there's nothing wrong with tarot cards. I'm not saying that. Please don't take it that way. I personally have never been allowed to use them. And even like as a child growing up, you guys, my mom passed. My father wasn't involved really, and but yet my mom who passed away, was involved with me, and I believe God too. Like I was very close to my divine. Tarot. No, it's tarot, not tarot. No, it's tarot. Tarot, silent T. No, it's not tarot cards. Anyway, but thanks anyway. Anyway, so with tarot cards, I just was told that I couldn't use them. Angel cards, okay. And of course, a lot of people, and it is neat too, because, having angels come through and, the cards fall out that match exactly what you're going through. And everybody's always like, oh my gosh, that's so accurate. That's exactly what I'm going through. And I feel like that's just the angel's way of saying, "Hey, we are watching over you. We're with you. So please have faith in that." But anyway, um, but the stuff that we talk about, and like when you're talking about somebody's life, it can't be like no judgment, no accusations. In my case, we talk about everything. And most of the time, I am like the secret keeper. I'm that person that if you were holding something in and you can never divulge it to anyone, I'm your person. It'll never go anywhere. And I can tell you too, after our session, information gone. So if I see you again, let's say out in public somewhere, I'm not going to remember. I may like recognize your soul because your beautiful soul. Hey, how are you doing? Da da da. But I'm not going to remember what we spoke of. Now, if like when you call me back for another session, I'm not going to remember right away. And that's because I'm getting new and fresh information about you, current info. But as we go halfway through the session, and that's why I'll ask you some things and you could be like, but you said. And then the nice thing too is when I get the same information, like about romance and career and stuff, and you're like, oh, you told me that last time. Well, that's repetitiveness, which is going to happen. Um, but anyway, it's it's just not for entertainment. Okay. Is Karen here? Hey, Miss Jeannie. Hello. I'm sorry. I can't like read these things. I get like distracted. Um, Psychic gifts. Okay. The first thing before we talk about cards, before you talk about anything, everybody has a sixth sense. Okay. Some of us have it stronger than others. And again, look at your hand, see if you have the healing X. I'll cover more later on the healing X, but it's in your hand. You don't have to have one. If you don't have it, doesn't mean you don't have healing abilities. That's why I start to go into it, but it's kind of long to do. And I have a lot to tell you that's actually very important. Um, One of the very first thing that I did, I'm going to take this. When I decided to do this work, and trust me, it was really bad. Like okay, so my whole life, I've always, I don't know, now according to everybody now, I was different. But I didn't think I was different. Like I thought everybody could talk to animals. I thought everybody could like talk to God. I thought everybody saw angels. Everybody saw deceased people. But I learned as I got a little older that wasn't the case. And yeah, so and you're finding you're different, whatever, which is good. Everybody's different. And it's good to be different. But um I've always been though, I have always been very spiritual. I have been different religions. I've gone to so many different churches, and I found out later that when you do that, you're trying to find the real meanings. So you take what works for you and you discard what doesn't. And I'm going to tell you, you yourself can talk to God. You don't need anybody to do that for you. You can learn. You can learn to have that conversation so you can hear it. Okay, you have to learn how to do it. But I'm going to tell you the first thing. Anyway, I should say in the 30s, probably in my mid 30s, it was getting bad. My job was I was working in the mortgage business and I wanted to become an underwriter. So I went to work at a bank. I'm not going to name now, but the way that I lived my life was kind of like this. I remember getting information and I'd go into my boss and I'd say, you know what? A of course I'm going to do my job. I'm going to process this file completely. But to me, the social security number feels like a social security number to a child, not an adult. And and it's amazing how things, but with the contract, I'll explain it. And the person said, "Really? That's weird. Okay." And oh, yeah, I said I would process it, but I'm not putting my name anywhere on any paperwork. And then you guys, as it would happen, I'm in a copy room and I have somebody who works for this realtor. And this person started talking about how this realtor needed to start getting a computer because he's making people's W 2s and typing them. You can imagine me. I'm just like, wait, what'd you say? It's one of these things. Whenever, as I said before, when you are scratching your head going, what? Huh? What? Like, and it's like, am I in another timeline? Where am I? That's divine intervention. Divine intervention at its finest. So, of course, I was fired. Yep, I was let go because I went to my boss, and I told about and I go, and now I'm understanding why I'm feeling these belong to children. I was right. Drug People on drugs were getting paid a lot of cash to use their children's social security numbers, and then they had to act like the couple. Yeah, at that point, like, I didn't meet the couple, I just saw the paperwork, or else I definitely would have known, but no, this is paperwork. Anyway, so, yeah, so I was fired, I was let go, and I just got my promotion a week before to go to be an underwriter, a government underwriter. Really? But and now, of course, later the whistleblowing law came out, and I'm over that part. But when I was there at that job, we had a bullpen, and I'd be sitting at my desk, and I started to get headaches, and then I started to hear like different conversations behind doors. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm like going nuts, my head, what is wrong? I went to a doctor in Harford County. He was wonderful. He said to me, and this is a renowned physician, he said to me, what's happening is that is your psychic ability. Obviously, then you have a very strong sixth sense, but you don't know how to use it properly, or it's coming full force at you, and you have to confront it. He said, apparently, you have been closing the door and acting like it doesn't exist, but you can't do that any longer. And what you need to do is find somebody who can help you. Best advice he ever gave me. Because what happened, growing up, I would have one family member say to me, "You're the devil's daughter." When I would say to her, I would come in and say, "Did you call me?" And I was a little girl, and she's like, "For what?" I don't know. I just heard somebody call my voice, and she says to me, "It was probably the devil." Thank you so much. Woo. But and then just being different, and people aren't kind. People can be very unkind. But the other side of that, I'm glad about that because that's made me kind. Because I would never treat somebody like the way some people had treated me ever. But anyway, so that's when I knew. Bye to the banking industry, the mortgage industry. And it was more stuff too. And that God bless Don Mandel because he's the one that said, you ought to do this work. He's like, you're better than Sylvia Brown. Because she was always on Montel. And he would say, okay, listen to the question, and then I'm going to mute it. And you tell me the answer. So I did. And he's like, you got every one of those things right. So of course she's charging $700 for 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna make somebody not be able to make their house payment because they have a couple of questions. No. I mean, yes, you can change somebody's life, and we do. We do that every day, all of us do. But anyway, the first thing I did, there's two things. The first thing was, I should say, from the time, this was a long time ago. Oh my gosh, it was a long, long time ago. And I was still in the mortgage business. I started to have a dream. Okay. The dream was I'd get to this old house because I love old houses and how people like, hello, Miss Kimmy. Sorry, hey, Arnie. Sorry, you guys. So I get to the house and I love seeing like, antiques and everything. So I'm going into each room and I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, yeah. And I have always a million questions. But then I come around and there is a mahogany staircase. At the very top, there's no landing, it's a door. And I know that there's something bad behind that door. But knowing me, I take a step and then I'm awake. This dream went on for maybe 15 years. And it was the same dream, except I was going up another step each time. I didn't know at the time that I was actually being prepared for my life now. So I decided to go into business and I do psychic coaching because I saw that, you know what, and I could see this in my life. Like people just, I could be anywhere, anywhere. And like people just start talking to me and telling me their deepest thoughts and feelings and secrets and I listened because I genuinely care. I really love people and I really do care. And if I can do anything to make somebody's day a little brighter, and the biggest thing to do too is just smile, kindness again. But my first thing, the first thing you have to do when you are doing psychic work, you've got to connect, you've got to make yourself right, make a choice. Your spirituality. What is your spirituality? I can tell you that when I went to Bell Book and Candle, oh my gosh, I found so many like Archangel Michael statues, and I found like Jesus, the crosses, and the Archangel Michael, and the stones. But I could not go around because I wanted to get the little chakra candles, which I have now, which I have here. I wanted these candles, and they come in like, chakra colors. So I was like, oh, that's nice. And I go to walk behind this counter and I can't. And I go again and I can't. And again, one more time. So I call the lady, go, hey, I hate to be a pain in the butt, but I really want to get some of those candles back there. She goes, well, just go back and get them. I go, I can't. She goes, no, I'm telling you, you can. And I said, I don't know what it is, but I can't. You know why I couldn't? Just like when I was younger, could never wear a turtleneck. Never. And now I can. I couldn't wear a turtleneck because I had a past life where I was hung. Yes, I was hung. I could never wear a turtleneck. Like it would freak me out. And like, it's like, come on. I mean, now you see why people like really didn't want to like take me into their homes. I had all these oddities about me. And it's like, no, no, no. I feel like it's like hanging me or choking me or something. No, 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 no. So I couldn't wear a turtleneck until in my 30s, late 30s. Yep. And then I could. And it was like no problem. So what happens is that was a past life thing. And it was so bad that I didn't want to step back into it, so to speak, at that store, just getting the candles. Oh, and she said to me, this is the Wiccan section. I go, oh, and for some reason, I kind of like didn't feel safe with that. Now, whole nother story. When you research things, research is everything. But And it is because back in the old days, if you could do things, if you could do healing or anything, you could tell the future or anything. If you were hung as a witch or tortured as a witch or set on fire. So yes. So if you guys have that kind of stuff, it doesn't last forever. It actually goes away when you passed away in that life. So cool though. You gotta admit it's cool stuff. But what I did my contract with God, my angels, and my guides. I have had this since 1999. I think 1999. I typed it up, and what I said basically was, I won't read the whole thing to you, but it's like I'm entering into the following contract with God, angels, and my guides, giving full permission to work through me to reach out and to help others. I do this freely, totally, irrevocably, and without reservation. I promise to always know that the messages that I deliver are confidential. I will never state a reading prediction and the name and identity of the client to whom the reading was done. I will allow my clients to remain anonymous, even if I must use an example of their reading in my teachings. Anonymity is very important in this work. Here I said I was just going to read, and here I am. I also understand that I am only a messenger in this work. I take no credit, but I am grateful. I also acknowledge and understand that the work I do is for the good of mankind. I'm never, and you guys, I wrote this. I didn't get this off of anything. I just sat down and I wrote this. Okay. And again, it's just basically, I'm never to operate with the intention of evil in mind. The moment that I do, I am aware that I will lose my opportunity to act as your messenger. I promise to do the best that I can and to use love as my underlying emotion. I thank you for using me as a messenger. I know that there are sacrifices involved, but I'm willing to make those sacrifices. I know these sacrifices are aids to helping me to accomplish what I have come to accomplish in this lifetime. And it's a little bit further, but it's basically I'm making a promise that I'm doing this work to help others, not to hurt others. And that's funny too when people are like, why aren't you trying to get the lottery? Are you kidding? I wish I could, but they don't let me see the numbers. Why? Because look at all the bad things that happen to people with the lottery curse and stuff. And there's a lot of people, because my one daughter and I did talk about this. She's like, oh my gosh, if we hit the lottery, mom, none of us have to work. Well, I want to work. And I want to work till the day I go home, you know? So anyway, first very important thing. Because then at about the same time all of this was going on, guess what happens? I have that final dream wearing my gold cross when I go to bed, and all of a sudden I fall into deep sleep, and here I am. I'm in the big house again. I'm looking at all the rooms, but now I'm kind of antsy because I know something's going to happen, but I don't know what yet. And then I come around, and there's that staircase. For those of you who know me, of course, you're like, I'm like, I knew there's something bad up there. I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do this. Instead of just leaving like normal, like a normal person would. But anyway, I go up, put my hand on the doorknob, I open it, and I am immediately, like when the attic has like the arch ceilings, I immediately am thrown up as hard as I could be thrown up against the wall. And it feels like somebody is literally punching me. And I know, and they were trying to get me to to accept them. And you know of whom I speak. And I kept holding my cross. And the only thing I said the whole time was over and over, I love God, I love God, I love God, I love God. I'm getting hit in my stomach. So I was literally like, I love God, I love God. And it was like, you can do whatever you want to me. I'm loving God, and I'm not switching cheeks. But but seriously, I couldn't talk. I was like this. And like, if you've ever been hit in the stomach, you know what that feels like to lose your breath. But I was just, nope, I love God. I love God. So I wake up, I am grasping my cross. My mouth is dry, parched. My stomach is hurting from being punched. But that was the first. And then, like, don't ever think, oh, I made my decision. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. I'm safe. And you're always safe. But I had it again, but not like that. It was more of a sneaky way. And the only reason this is allowed, things are allowed to be done to you, is because you're not a game piece where like God takes you around and says, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you got to do that. No, you're in charge. You're in charge. Like, I'm in charge, and it's my decision. It's my decision. That's why, like, when people talk about like the church and the Bible and this and that, no, 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 I don't say, because the Bible was written a very long time ago. And it's when we had no constitution. And it's funny because people are like, they know it all. And I'm not saying I do, but it's 613 commandments. It's not 10. But that's because there are a lot of people coming in. And there's madness. You have to have rules and regulations. And we didn't really have any. And come on, the women are basically subservient, and only the rich people could talk to tea readers or whatever, the TV readers and all that stuff. Only the rich people could, not the regular people. So, no, 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 no. You are in charge, but you walk, like I always say, I walk with God. God's my father. And I don't try to be like, I never want to tell anybody what to believe, because you can find out on your own. Because the first time that I actually had my first real, I'm not going to say first real, but I'm saying the real because I remembered it to a T. I remember him speaking to me. I remember what he talked to me about. And I remember him actually laughing at the end when he's like, I know, Janie. He's like, I know, I know. You need proof. But I never saw him. But again, I'm sure I didn't see him because we are human. You know what I mean? But come on. Are we that arrogant to believe that this is what everybody looks like? I don't think so. Especially when you come back in different lives as different genders and this and that. You know what I mean? So this isn't your identity forever. But anyway, so, and this little Tony is saying this, and somebody did tell me that there's a lady on, I guess, TikTok, because I would like to hear from you if you had this experience. Mm. And it's the experience of the second time. And the second time was probably within the past 2 years. You get to the situation where maybe like financially, maybe physically, things happen and you may need help with things. And some people will do anything. And I went to sleep and I did have a dream, but this time it was nice. And somebody saying to me that I could have anything. I had anything I wanted. I could like take care of all the cats, all the cats I wanted. I could own so much and have so much. And I was like, no, get away, leave me alone. You already asked me all this stuff, and I already said no. Don't aggravate me. But it's like, come on, come on. We gotta be a good team and da 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 da. Da. No, absolutely no. So you will be approached. You will be approached. It is a spiritual war. And if they know you're a good person and you have a special gift, you're looked at. You're not ignored. Okay. That's why it's important. I always say, like, Archangel Michael, whenever I don't feel comfortable, Archangel Michael. And again, I use that term of when, you live in the city and it's like, you know, have your back. Like friends will say to each other, hey, look, I have your back. I always tell people, like, especially people that are kind to me or do something whenever I say, I have your back. And I really mean I have your back. So, and it's funny because I found that during this work, whenever I'd be like, this is a little weird right now, I would feel and know that Archangel Michael and my guides, you guys, we have angels and we have guides. And of course, I look at it like God is my main being, but I have angels and guides in my everyday occurrence. You do too. You do too. So, the contract with God is very important and picking your side. I am at a point in my life now, I would really love to have like a place where we can all get together and talk about all the good things that happen, do healing, uh, just and even sing, like singing. Oh my gosh, remember Peter, Paul, and Mary? I like played that the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I used to hear that in the folk mass that I used to go to with my mother, who used to feed me mallow cups. Because remember, I was that little kid going, Mommy, who's that man talking about? That's not the God I know. And she'd be like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I think she died when I was 7.5. So I probably was about 5. Yeah. But pay attention to your dreams. Okay. And don't sell yourself short. If you don't think you have gifts, write a journal and write about the things that happen to you that are kind of weird. But also know you get back what you give out always. And you can't go wrong with being kind. Always be kind. There is something too really quick. I'm going to close it up with this. But you guys, if you want to have a session with me, jamiedaly@gmail.com. You could Facebook Messenger. I have gotten a little busy, but I'm not able to really, it all depends. Sometimes, like, I might just decide that I'm gonna have a day off, and then I see somebody needs me, and I'll be like, "Okay, come on." So yeah, so if I don't respond to you, that means I did not get your message. So please don't hesitate to resend, and if you have my phone number, you can even text me, because I will at least send you a response. Okay, so anyway, yes, and I don't wanna scare you, but this is for real. You know what I mean? This is like for real. And oh, I started to tell you about the tarot cards. No, I'm seeing that on the screen again. It was kind of funny because that's what I was saying too. Like, I grew up and I wasn't exposed to Ouija boards in my youth. Mm-mm. And you guys, I like didn't have the family, so to speak, that like a lot of you had. So you would think I would be the one who would be most exposed to that kind of stuff. I wasn't, not at all. So, my mom did take care of us, even though she was on the other side, she did. And God looked after me too, you know, as He does with all of us. But it's so not what you hear all the time. It's so much nicer. So I'm going to tell you now, too. God doesn't care who you sleep with. With all the stuff that's going on and everything that every person has that's going wrong in their lives, the one thing that He doesn't look at is who you sleep with. Who cares? Who cares? I can never understand that too. And that goes into which we can talk to about past lives, and because everybody has had past lives. Deja vu. Deja vu is when you had been somewhere, but it wasn't in this lifetime. Yes, deja vu. But anyway, really quick, I'll close it on this one actually, and then we can talk about the rest of it next. Maxine, you have to wait a minute. That's Maxine as you walk in here right now. Yeah, she's one of my fosters. Okay, so he wants to get out and run the streets. Sorry. But when I was younger, okay, I was a single mom, right? And single mom working by myself, and I didn't have like I didn't have parents that could help, finance, finance or anything, and or help me with bills and stuff. And but I always was happy. I always was happy and smiling and just I'm not just I the same way that I was as a kid, like with God, because I'm the person I walk in the woods and I'm like, hello, and talk to the trees. Just, I'm different. But I like being different. Welcome to my different world. And like, don't be so afraid of what people think about you. Who cares? Who cares? Be flattered that they talk about you. At least they're not like ignoring you. But no, I say that with funny, but don't worry. Everybody's so worried about getting older and what they look like. And I love getting older. Enjoy getting older. Enjoy it. You have so much more wisdom. Oh my gosh. If you think back to when you were younger and all the mistakes you made back then, but you did because you didn't have the wisdom or the experience. Trust. That's all I'm asking. Laugh. There's always something funny in everything, no matter what it is. Try to find the humor, okay? Try to find the happiness. I want you to do that this week. I just want you to be happy and don't think about money and being tight and what am I going to do with this? Don't think of that. Give it to God. That's okay. Give it to God if you don't feel comfortable doing that. Give it to your loved ones, your angels. Give it to your angels. Anyway, but you guys also thank you for coming into my life tonight. Um, but again, I wanted to close. I keep forgetting. Anyway, do that. Be happy. Surround yourself with the white light of the Holy Spirit. Okay. Don't let anything, but remember, you're in charge of you. You, nobody else. You. Yeah. Tarot cards, I'm not saying anything bad about them, and I'm sure some people read them very well. It's just I'm seeing the things that I have seen, I was like, "Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness." And I know some people might say, "Well, it's the same as the angel cards, whatever, whatever," but the angel cards don't talk about, like, towers and anyway. Anyway, but I was in Barnes& and Noble, and I really wanted to get some cards, right? So I come in, I'm by myself, I'm shopping, and I see, oh my gosh, the Rider-Waite, right? Is it Rider-Waite? The Rider-Waite tarot cards and a book of how to interpret. I was like, yay! And they were on sale at Barnes& and Noble. I was like, yes, yes, yes. So I say out loud, I'm gonna get this, and I reach for them, and I hear no. I go, and I say it aloud because I'm really into this. I want to make this purchase. I go, oh, come on, come on. Yeah, come on. It'll be fun. Come on. I heard, and I go to reach. No. So I didn't get it that time. So I came back later that night. I ran into the store. I ran into the store. It was still there. So I hurried up. I bought it. Take it home. I was all excited to learn how to do it. As God as my witness, no pun intended, I could not figure out how to read the cards. I could not figure it out. So what did I do? 2 days later, I took it back and got my money back. But that's just, if you're not supposed to use something, you don't understand it. And I'm pretty smart. I think I'm pretty smart. I can figure out a lot. But anyway, on that, you guys have a very good week. And if you want to talk about any topics, please let me know. I also let me know if you have the X. Again, it's okay if you don't. It's like an egg. Okay, there's going to be people who have the X in the yolk, and the people who don't have the X but are healers as the, what's it called, the white part. I should know better. It's all together. One is not better than the other. Okay, it's just that some people who do not have the X, oh, thank you. Some people that don't have the X, it's because you may be too sensitive to taking in the energy, and maybe it could hurt you by doing so. But it doesn't mean, like, when you are rejoicing, and singing and praying, and everybody has their energy out there to heal, it's magical. It is magical, and your energy is needed for that too. So, yes. So I'm going to put that out there too. I am looking for a place I would like to get together, and like I would like to have weekly would be great, but like maybe bi-weekly or even monthly at first, where we can all get together and learn and enjoy life and have fun. Because I guarantee you, I can tell you what can happen and how you can attract money into your life. Okay? And no, it's not some secret weapon or whatever, but it is, you have to start practicing getting rid of negativity. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. I really do appreciate you guys. Please share. Also bring people with you. Next Tuesday, I will be here. And trust me, I'm going to tell you, it's really something cool I'm really working on. And again, this was something God orchestrated. People that know me know the story. It's kind of like amazing. But anything God has to do with, it's amazing. So I will promise to share that with you. But also, yes, sure. Yeah, I said that. Send me X's. And if you would like to book a session, janiedaily@gmail.com, and subscribe. It's free to subscribe. So go ahead and subscribe. I really need to get my subscriptions up. I see the messengers sound so not well first. TikTok keeps saying something, but I don't really want to get on TikTok because you see the psychic ladies, they're like, okay, I'm going to answer your question. And no, I don't do this for entertainment. No, not at all. But love you guys. Love you, light workers. Good night. God bless. Talk to your angels.